you here in your capacity as a board member of Business Unity South Africa. Could you give us some sense of what is from BUSA and business side, some of the initiatives you guys are busy with, and your thoughts on business's role in what you've heard today?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mike, and greetings to the Minister and every one of the panelists. I feel a bit ganged up on as the only member of the private sector here. But let me say a few things before I go into responding to your question. The first one, I think, is to encourage the IBA, Primerio, and the OECD in this ongoing work. Fighting corruption is not an event, it's a process and it's an ongoing exercise. It's like productivity improvements in business. You can't just wake up one day with a magic wand and hope that it goes away overnight. I should also say that I'm quite encouraged by the Minister's remarks that even in a difficult year as this one, where the ruling party is facing an elective and a turbulent conference towards the end of the year, there is a very clear commitment by government to continue the fight against corruption. And this is a very important message that I hope can be repeated as the President goes into his fourth edition of the International Investment Council. It's to give a clear signal that this fight won't be let up and that government will remain resolute on it. Let me say, on the 28th of January this year, we met with the President and we raised a few issues there. One of the issues that we raised was the crisis of corruption in our country. And we did not raise this crisis of corruption in apportioning blame to say that the public sector is to blame for this epidemic of corruption. We went there as patriots, and I've got a colleague here, Stavros Nikolaou, who could testify to the tone of that engagement with the President, that we went there as patriots to say that we're in this together, and we are here to lend a hand. I think this was the subject and theme of his inaugural State of the Nation address. We extended a hand of help to the government to say that we're here, we're all affected by this problem, and we're willing to work with you. A few days later, of course, Judge Zondo, the Chief Justice designate now, released the recommendations of his first part of the three-part series of reports. And I think it's very important. My colleagues in business will not forgive me if I did not push back on what I thought was a sense of cynicism about business commitment to fighting corruption. We released a statement as Business Unity South Africa. A part of the statement read as follows, and I would like to read it onto the record. BUSA supports all the recommendations in the report under Section J of the report, starting from page 844. We discussed in particular the issue of protection of whistleblowers and the role that business could play in addressing the dire circumstances of the whistleblowers find themselves. We will work with government and other social partners to contribute to the urgent implementation of the recommendations contained in the report. It went on to say, we will look at some initiatives underway to bolster the capacity of the National Prosecuting Authority. We'll coordinate initiatives by our members into a serious and concerted mechanism to provide necessary resources to the NPA to urgently prepare cases to prosecute those identified in the report. Such resources could include private prosecutions or private prosecutors and other relevant assistance. We will engage the NPA about this. The BUSA board has also asked relevant members to urgently engage with any business mentioned in the report in order to get a full briefing from those businesses that are affected about the allegations proffered against them, and to understand what actions those businesses intend taking. In conclusion, we must emphasize that we will address the outcomes of part 1 of the Zondo Commission's report with the seriousness and agency it deserves. We are, however, an organization of business associations and have the responsibility to engage members and ensure due process in arriving at a mandated position of the report. We are processing this with utmost agency. So I think this is the commitment that you should hold us as business to. First, as an apex organization in South Africa, business organization, and then, of course, the individual affiliates of BUSA, and going down into the individual businesses. I know what Judge Davis has raised, but we have to tread cautiously. Our private sector is fragile. We cannot have prolonged periods of uncertainty. Otherwise, we'll wake up one day and have a situation where there is a run on the banks. We should allow due process to take place. And I believe that we have due process. All our members are seized with this. For example, from a small business institute point of view, we are exposed and do business with 2 organizations. I have had a CEO to go to them and ask for explanations about the remedial actions that they are taking following them being implicated in the report. Let me make just one final remark that I believe that since 2017, there has been a course correction from business. It has been faltering in certain instances, as we have seen with non-disclosure or false disclosure by other organizations. But quite a few steps cannot be overlooked, such as BLSA, Business Leadership South Africa, now requires all members to sign an integrity pledge. And business went into the public square to call out some of its members and suspend some of its members who were found wanting, whether it's in the public sector or in the private sector. And other associations and affiliates of BUSA are on record as having denied membership to applicants that have been found to have integrity issues. So what I'm saying here is, I'm saying we are here as business, to offer a helping hand to all the social partners. In us, you have willing and capable partners to walk this journey. But people have lost their houses, people have lost their jobs, have been blackballed, have not had work for years. So my appeal would be twofold. As we design the new system and a proper system, is to look back into the current sufferers. And I'm not going to name them, but 2 instances come to mind where a bank wrote off the debts of a home loan to one of the whistleblowers, and then another bank wouldn't do the same thing. But there's other sorts of help that whistleblowers require today, non-financial help, such as psychosocial support services. And clearly, I think the private sector should be able to look into this to provide some kind of relief, immediate relief to the current sufferers now. And obviously, the biggest step that you can take to restore their dignity is to give them jobs. So the system of blackballing them, I think, has to stop.